There are moments in life when you stumble onto something, a message, a video, a conversation, that feels less like coincidence and more like timing. Perfect timing. And if you're here right now, listening to this, it's not by accident. Something in your spirit has been tugging at you lately, and this message is meeting you right at that crossroads. Think of it as a gentle tap on your shoulder, a reminder that you're not drifting, you're being guided. What you're hearing today isn't just another motivational speech or spiritual pep talk. It's a declaration that the ground beneath your feet is shifting, and that shift is not random. It's intentional, deliberate, and deeply connected to your next chapter. Before anything else, take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Feel that mix of tension and expectation inside you. That's not fear. It's not anxiety. It's the feeling you get when something new is forming, like the quiet stir before a big decision or the stillness before a breakthrough. You've probably noticed this stirring for a while now, waking up with a strange heaviness, feeling like the routine that once fit you so well has suddenly become too tight. Maybe your relationships feel different. Maybe your job feels stale. Maybe the things that once energized you don't have the same spark. These aren't signs of failure, they're signals of transition. There's a difference between relocation and revelation. Relocation is external, boxes, addresses, logistics. Revelation is internal, a shift in identity, purpose, and awareness. And what you're stepping into now is both. You're being moved physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally all at once. Your next season isn't waiting for you somewhere far away. It's already unfolding in the quiet places of your heart. That sense of, I'm ready for something new, didn't appear randomly. It's been cultivated through every lesson you've learned up to this point. You might be feeling pressure lately, financial tension, emotional distance, unexpected conflict, or even a strange sense of discomfort in places you used to feel secure. But here's the truth. Pressure isn't punishment. Pressure is preparation. When something is being constructed, things shake, shift, and break. Doors close, not because something is wrong, but because something else is being prepared. Every time a chapter wraps up in your life, there is always a period of disruption before the new chapter begins. You might not see the full picture yet, but you can sense that something bigger is forming. Right now, you are being positioned, not pushed. You're not falling out of alignment, you're being aligned. Think about how many stories throughout history, spiritual and otherwise, begin with a call to move. Not because the familiar was bad, but because the familiar was too small. When Abraham was called to leave his homeland, it wasn't a punishment. It was the beginning of a promise. When explorers set out across oceans, they weren't escaping, they were expanding. When innovators disrupt their routines, it's not because they're lost, it's because they've caught a glimpse of something greater. Your life is experiencing that same kind of nudge. The season you've been in has served its purpose, but it can't contain the version of you that is emerging. Growth requires space. Transformation requires fresh air. And just like a plant becomes root-bound if it stays in the same pot too long, your soul is letting you know it's time to be replanted somewhere new. The question isn't whether you're being moved, it's whether you're willing to walk into the new ground that's being prepared for you. You may have been waking up at odd hours, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., with your mind wide awake while the world sleeps. Not in panic, but in a strange clarity. Those hours are known in many traditions as the spiritual still hours, the window where your thoughts are the quietest and guidance becomes the loudest. Those awakenings aren't random disturbances, they're invitations. Moments when you are more receptive to direction, ideas, and clarity than you are during the rush of the day. When you feel that pull, don't ignore it. Lean into it. Whether you pray, meditate, reflect, or simply sit in silence, those moments are designed to spark recognition. Look at what has been happening around you as well. Doors that once opened effortlessly now feel stuck. People you used to resonate with seem to drift. Opportunities that once felt perfect now feel misaligned. This isn't your life falling apart. This is your life rearranging to match your next level. The things that once fed you can't sustain you where you're going next. When it's time to grow, comfort becomes restrictive. Relationships shift. Passions evolve. Old dreams lose their color. That's the universe's way of clearing space. Think about it this way. When a seed breaks open, it probably feels like destruction from the seed's point of view. But it's the only way growth can happen. You've been planted, watered, refined, and stretched. And now you're breaking open, not to collapse, but to grow roots in new soil. Some of you have been researching new opportunities lately. New jobs, new cities, new communities, new routines, almost without realizing why. Those moments of curiosity, those small sparks of what if, aren't coincidences. Curiosity is often the introduction to destiny. It begins as a whisper before it becomes a clear direction. If a thought or idea keeps coming back to you over and over, don't dismiss it. Repetition is one of the most common signs of alignment. You may even be questioning yourself, wondering whether you're imagining all of this, wondering whether you're making something out of nothing. But deep down, you know the truth. You wouldn't feel this unsettled if you weren't being called higher. You wouldn't feel this restless if something weren't shifting. Your spirit is recognizing the new season before your eyes can see it. And yes, fear may show up. Fear always shows up when something big is coming. Not because something bad is ahead, but because fear is the mind's reaction to unfamiliar territory. Fear wants to keep you safe. Faith wants to move you forward. The tension between the two is the birthplace of transformation. But remember, discomfort is often the signal that you're getting closer to alignment, not further from it. You're not being asked to have the whole map. You're only being asked to say yes to the next step. When you say yes, clarity follows, provision follows, direction follows. You don't need to know the entire journey to take the first step. The road reveals itself as you walk. And the truth is, you've already started walking. There's a moment in every major shift where what once felt comfortable starts to feel unfamiliar. You begin noticing that the places, people, and routines that once felt like home now feel slightly out of sync. It's not that anything is dramatically wrong, it's more like your spirit has already stepped into a new room while your body is still standing in the old one. You're in that space right now, the in-between, the transition, the hallway between what was and what will be. And if you've been wondering why everything feels different, it's because you're different. Growth changes your lens, clarity sharpens your perspective, and once you've evolved, the old environment simply can't contain you anymore. For weeks, maybe even months, you've probably sensed this quiet but persistent pull, a nudge to think bigger, dream differently, or change your surroundings. Something inside you knows the chapter is ending, even if nothing external has fully shifted yet. And it's not a loss, it's preparation. You've been walking through a season of refinement, strengthening, and pruning. The challenges you faced weren't random. They were molding your character, shaping your discernment, and stretching your capacity. Every obstacle, every disappointment, every delay played a role in preparing you for what's coming next. Sometimes what feels like resistance is actually rehearsal. If you've been waking up with this feeling of, I don't belong here anymore, know that it's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're outgrowing. Just like a butterfly pushing against the cocoon, the pressure isn't there to hurt you. It's there to help you break free. You aren't breaking down. You're breaking out. You're not losing stability. You're gaining alignment. And alignment often starts with discomfort. Look back at your recent experiences. People you used to talk to daily seem to be drifting into the background. Friendships feel quieter. Conversations feel shorter. The things that once entertained you feel shallow. And the invitations you used to get don't arrive like they used to. It might feel personal, but it's not. This is pruning. Growth removing what can't go with you into your next season. Just like a gardener trims branches that drain life from the plant, life is trimming the connections and habits that no longer nourish you. Not because there's something wrong with them, but because your calling requires something different now. You're being prepared for deeper connections, higher purpose, and more meaningful environments. And speaking of environments, notice the subtle shifts happening around you. Maybe your job feels stale or temporary. Maybe the goals you once chased now feel misaligned. Maybe the dreams you used to hold have evolved into something bigger. These are signs of repositioning. Your spirit is signaling that you've learned what you needed to learn where you are. This season has served its purpose. The ground that once supported your growth is running out of nutrients. When that happens, you're not meant to shrink. You're meant to move. For some of you, this shift has even shown up in your sleep. Those late-night awakenings between 2 and 4 a.m., the ones that feel oddly peaceful instead of panicked, aren't coincidences. Many spiritual traditions, from Christianity to mindfulness practices to ancient wisdom texts, teach that the early morning stillness is the most receptive time for insight. It's when intuition speaks loudest because the world is quietest. If new ideas, solutions, or sudden clarity pop into your mind during those hours, lean into it. Your mind is more open. Your spirit is more tuned in. Your purpose is trying to get your attention. Some of you have been seeing repeated signs, numbers, words, dreams, or symbols that keep showing up in unexpected places. That's not randomness, that's resonance. When life is aligning you with your next chapter, patterns begin to appear. Messages echo through different sources. You hear the same advice from multiple people. The same idea keeps resurfacing. The same feeling won't go away. These confirmations are meant to reassure you that you're not imagining the shift, you're sensing it. And even though the changes around you may feel uncomfortable, this period is essential. Think about Joseph, who went from prison to palace in a single day. Think about explorers who endured uncertainty before reaching new horizons. Think about anyone who has ever transitioned from one chapter of life to another. It always begins with a stirring, then a shaking, then a shift. The shaking part, that's what you're in right now, but every shake is loosening something that's been holding you back. This is the season where your faith, your intuition, and your courage matter more than ever. You don't need the entire blueprint, just the willingness to move when the next step becomes clear. Because transformation isn't about knowing exactly where you're going, it's about trusting the pull that's leading you there. And right now, that pull is strong for a reason. Something new is forming. Something long awaited is aligning. Something you've prayed for, hoped for, or quietly wished for is making its way toward you. You might be wondering, but how can I transition when my finances, obligations, or responsibilities still anchor me here? And that's a valid question. But remember this: timing and resources rarely align before the shift. They align during the shift. Provision follows obedience. Clarity follows action. Opportunities show up when you start walking, not when you stay still. Think of every major leap in your life. Chances are, none of them happened when everything was perfectly lined up. They happen when you decided to move anyway. It's important to pay attention to what has been losing its grip on you emotionally too. The things that once stressed you out don't hit the same anymore. The opinions of others don't carry the weight they used to. The expectations you once lived by feel outdated. That's because you're detaching emotionally and spiritually from a place that no longer fits your future. Your heart is already migrating toward what's next, even if your circumstances haven't caught up yet. You're entering a phase where your discernment will sharpen. You'll start recognizing what's truly for you and what's simply familiar. You'll start letting go of things that drain your energy without guilt. You'll begin craving peace more than validation, purpose more than comfort, growth more than routine. And that shift in priorities is one of the biggest signs that your spirit is preparing you for the next chapter. This season of transition might feel lonely at times, but it's not isolation. It's preparation. When everything gets quieter, clarity gets louder. When distractions fade, direction appears. When connections thin out, it's because the ones meant for your next season haven't arrived yet. Trust that gap. The people, opportunities, and environments aligned with your future are already being arranged. You're stepping into a time where misalignment will feel heavier and alignment will feel lighter. And the more you pay attention to your inner signals, the clearer your path will become. You're not being pushed away from something, you're being pulled towards something better. As you continue sensing this shift, you may notice that what once energized you now feels strangely distant, like trying to fit into clothes that no longer match your size. This isn't you changing your mind randomly, it's you evolving. Your inner world is shifting first, and your outer world is simply trying to catch up. And trust me, this is exactly how transformation works. Before a new chapter unfolds around you, it unfolds within you. The uneasiness, the restlessness, the sudden clarity, the loss of interest in old routines. These are spiritual, emotional, and psychological indicators that the ground is preparing to move beneath your feet. You're not confused, you're being calibrated. Look closely at your recent experiences. You may have noticed a series of internal nudges, quiet ideas encouraging you to explore new places, new jobs, new communities, or new directions. Maybe you've been scrolling through listings you wouldn't normally check. Maybe you've been imagining yourself somewhere new with a surprising sense of peace. Maybe you keep daydreaming about a different environment, a fresh start, or a new identity that feels more aligned with who you're becoming. These aren't random impulses. These thoughts arrive when your spirit recognizes your next level before your logic does. It's like your intuition is already scouting the terrain ahead. And yes, it's normal to question these feelings. You might have asked yourself, is this really a sign or am I just bored? But boredom doesn't carry this kind of weight. Boredom doesn't whisper with consistency. Boredom doesn't feel like something is pulling you forward. When you're being shifted, the signs appear not once, but repeatedly, in different forms: conversations, opportunities, dreams, numbers, delays, endings, new ideas that won't leave you alone. Life has a way of echoing the message until you finally acknowledge it. Think about the moments when you felt most restless lately, that heaviness in your chest that comes out of nowhere. The sudden urge to reorganize your life, cleaning, decluttering, reevaluating your priorities, the urge to break old patterns or finally close emotional chapters. These aren't small things, these are spiritual contractions. When a new season is being born, your internal world goes through the same process as a birthing mother: pressure, stretching, discomfort, and then release. You're in the stretching phase. Your heart is expanding, your capacity is increasing, and your comfort zone is shrinking because you no longer belong there. You've likely also noticed that certain relationships are shifting. People who were once central in your life may feel distant. Conversations that used to flow easily now feel forced. You may find yourself craving solitude more than usual, not because you're withdrawing, but because your soul is recalibrating. Solitude becomes necessary when you're transitioning. It gives you space to hear yourself again, to listen to your own voice without the noise of everyone else's expectations. Even Jesus withdrew from the crowds to strengthen himself before major steps, and throughout history, leaders, creators, and spiritual figures have done the same. When purpose is calling, isolation becomes preparation. And it's not just relationships shifting. Opportunities that once felt exciting now feel strangely empty. Plans that once seemed certain start falling apart. Paths that once led somewhere now lead nowhere. The frustration you feel isn't failure, it's redirection. Think about the story of Elijah, whose brook dried up not because he had done anything wrong, but because it was time for him to move to the next assignment. Sometimes the resources that once sustained you begin to fade so you can be redirected towards something more aligned. Dry brooks are not punishments, they're announcements. This season is also sharpening your discernment. You're becoming more sensitive to what drains you and what feeds you. You're noticing who truly supports you and who only tolerates you. You're picking up on subtle energies, shifts in tone, changes in behavior, mismatched priorities. This is not paranoia, this is clarity. When you step into a new season, you cannot afford to carry old patterns or unaligned people with you. And life has a way of trimming your circle before your elevation. Smaller circles protect bigger callings. With these emotional and spiritual shifts come physical or practical signs too. Maybe you've been decluttering your space without understanding why. You've let go of clothes, old items, digital clutter, or unfinished projects. Decluttering is often the first physical expression of inner transformation. Your mind might say, "I'm just organizing," but your spirit is saying, "Make room." Before major transitions, people often naturally begin releasing what no longer fits their next identity. It's not a coincidence, it's preparation. And then there are your dreams. Some of you have been dreaming of unfamiliar places, walking through new homes or new cities, or meeting people you've never seen before. You might wake up with a strange sense of peace or curiosity. Throughout history and across cultures, dreams have been a common way that the subconscious, or for many, the divine, communicates direction. When you dream repeatedly of new spaces, it often signals that your inner world is orienting you toward your next calling. Joseph, one of history's most well-known dreamers, saw his future long before it came to pass. Your dreams aren't fantasies, they're glimpses. And let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear often intensifies right before a breakthrough. You might feel doubt rising, you might feel unprepared. You might worry about finances, timing, or responsibilities. But fear isn't a sign you're going the wrong way. It's a sign the next level is close. Resistance increases the closer you get to transition, just like a plane shakes hardest right before breaking through the clouds. The turbulence doesn't mean the plane is failing. It means it's ascending. You might ask, how will I know when the shift is really happening? You'll know because alignment will begin to feel more natural than hesitation. You'll start noticing moments of clarity, little bursts of knowing that feel like the fog lifting. You'll feel a surge of courage at surprising times. You'll notice opportunities showing up unexpectedly. People you need will begin crossing your path. Conversations will confirm your direction. Signs will repeat until you can't ignore them anymore. It's like the universe, or God, or destiny, however you understand it, is coordinating your path behind the scenes. And when the time actually comes to make the move, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, or professional, it won't feel like you're forcing something. It will feel like you're following something. Like the door that once seemed locked suddenly clicks open. Like the puzzle piece you've been holding finally fits. Like your spirit whispers, "This is it." Most importantly, this transition isn't just about changing your environment. It's about expanding your purpose. You're being prepared for connections that align with your next season. People who will support your growth instead of stunting it. Mentors who will challenge you in the right ways. Opportunities that won't just pay your bills, they'll fulfill your calling. Environments that won't just be comfortable, they'll be nourishing. And yes, warfare might increase as you get closer. Challenges might feel heavier. You might feel emotional or mentally stretched. That's because the old version of you is dissolving. The uncertainty is not a setback, it's an invitation. You're stepping into territory that requires more faith, more courage, and more clarity. But you're not stepping alone. You're being guided, you're being aligned, you're being prepared. Every major transition in life requires a renewed mind. Before your surroundings change, your thinking has to shift first. That's why lately you may have noticed that certain thought patterns no longer feel right. Your old ways of processing problems, the beliefs you used to cling to, even the insecurities that once held you back, they're beginning to lose their grip. This isn't coincidence. This is mental elevation. What you're stepping into requires a mindset that can carry purpose, not just survive pressure. It demands awareness, clarity, and resilience. And as uncomfortable as this mental restructuring may feel, it's preparing you for what's ahead. Think of it this way. If you tried to bring your old thinking into your new season, it would suffocate your progress. Just like the Israelites who left Egypt but kept Egypt in their mindset, many people miss their next level because they carry outdated fears into new opportunities. But not you, not this time. You've been feeling that inner push to think differently, to expect more, to trust deeper. That's because your purpose is outgrowing your old patterns. You're being elevated from the inside out. You may have found yourself questioning things you once accepted easily. Your standards have risen. Your tolerance for chaos has declined. You've become more protective of your peace, more selective about who gets access to your energy. Maybe you're noticing how heavy certain environments feel, or how draining certain conversations can be, or how your intuition reacts strongly to what once went unnoticed. This is emotional intelligence sharpening. You're becoming more aware of what aligns with your growth and what disrupts it. This kind of discernment is a hallmark sign that your next season is approaching. And speaking of discernment, let's address something important. Not every open door is meant for you. In every transitional moment, life brings both divine opportunities and tempting distractions. Some paths look appealing, but they are detours in disguise. Some people seem supportive, but they don't carry the character, integrity, or alignment required for where you're going. You may feel more sensitive to energies, intentions, and motivations now, and that's not paranoia. That's protection. When your calling is elevating, your discernment has to elevate with it. You're also becoming aware of counterfeits, those opportunities or relationships that look good on the surface but don't feel right in your spirit. The more you trust your intuition, the more clearly you'll be able to distinguish alignment from imitation. This sharpening is essential because your next chapter will require you to choose wisely, not hastily. Delays, pauses, and moments of discomfort during this season aren't punishments. They're forms of divine protection. Sometimes when life slows you down, it's preventing you from walking into something that would have harmed you. This is also a period where repetition becomes revelation. If you've been seeing certain numbers repeatedly, like 111, 222, 444, or especially 8s, understand that this is a common pattern during transitions. Many traditions view repeated numbers as signs of alignment or new beginnings. Biblically, the number 8 is symbolic of a fresh start. Noah stepped into a renewed earth on the 8th day. It represents resurrection, renewal, and rebirth. So when the number 8 keeps appearing in your life, it's a subtle way the universe, or God, is signaling. Something new is emerging. Prepare. And preparation isn't just spiritual, it's emotional. You've shed tears in silence. You've endured seasons where you felt forgotten or overlooked. You've pushed through moments where the weight felt heavy, where progress seemed slow, where prayers seemed unanswered. But none of those tears were wasted. Your struggle has been watering the soil of your next season. You've built strength in silence. You've grown courage in private. And now the fruit of your endurance is ready to surface. Your next chapter is not requiring you to show up empty-handed. You're entering with knowledge, wisdom, scars that taught you, resilience that shaped you, and a level of emotional maturity that can carry greater responsibility. This is why you're feeling the urge to release old cycles, old grudges, old patterns, old wounds. There's no space for them where you're going. Healing is not a gentle process, it's a courageous one, and you've been doing it even when you didn't realize it. One of the biggest fears before a major shift is the fear of provision. Will I have enough? Will I be stable? Will everything work out? But understand this, when you are aligned with purpose, provision follows. The path rises to meet your feet. The right people show up. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin finding you. Sometimes provision comes through unexpected channels, someone offering help, a sudden open door, a chance meeting, a new idea, or a resource you never considered before. When Abraham obeyed, the ram appeared. When Elijah moved, the widow was already prepared. The provision is already stationed in your next season. You just haven't reached it yet. And this shift isn't limited to finances or physical resources. It's also emotional provision, peace, clarity, confidence, support. You're moving into a chapter where things begin to align naturally, where effort feels less like struggle and more like flow. You won't have to chase what's meant for you. What's aligned will rise to meet you because you've done the inner work. You've matured in faith, in wisdom, in emotional capacity. You're stepping into a place where panic gives way to purpose. Another thing you may notice during this transition is a desire to organize your life, your room, your digital files, your schedule, your priorities. This desire to tidy up is more than productivity. It's symbolic. Before big shifts, people naturally begin clearing space. Your mind wants order because your spirit knows something new is arriving. This is your internal signal saying, prepare, make space. You're decluttering not just your home, but your identity. It's also possible that you're feeling misunderstood or distant from others. Maybe you can't quite explain what's happening inside you. Maybe people think you're withdrawing when in reality you're recalibrating. Maybe old friendships feel misaligned because you're no longer operating at the same frequency. Let that be okay. Elevation always creates separation. When your frequency rises, not everyone will resonate with your new wavelength, but the right people, those aligned with your next chapter, will meet you where you're going, not where you've been. This new season you're stepping into isn't about survival, it's about expansion. You're shifting from merely maintaining life to creating life, from reacting to purpose to walking in purpose. Your energy is changing, your mindset is upgrading, your spirit is awakening, and soon your circumstances will reflect what's already happening internally. You're being prepared for connections that support your calling, not drain it. Environments that amplify your gifts, not suppress them. Responsibilities that fulfill you, not overwhelm you. You're being aligned with opportunities that match your potential, not your past. This transition might feel shaky, but shakeups are often the doorway to breakthroughs. You're entering a chapter where you'll look back and say, this is why everything had to change. Because what's coming isn't just a relocation, it's a revelation. As you continue walking through this season of transition, you may begin to notice something powerful, the ways in which your perspective is evolving. What used to overwhelm you now barely shakes you. What once consumed your emotions now passes through you much more quickly. This is not detachment, it's growth. You're no longer reacting from the wounded places of your past. You're responding from the healed places of your present. And that shift alone is one of the clearest signs that you're stepping into a new level of emotional and spiritual maturity. When you elevate internally, your external world has no choice but to follow. Your habits shift, your priorities shift, your desires shift, and eventually your environment must shift too. You start seeing life through a different lens. You begin craving meaning instead of noise, authenticity instead of performance, substance instead of surface-level distractions. This is the kind of inner alignment that precedes every major breakthrough. You're not trying to change, you're becoming who you were always meant to be. And with this internal evolution comes another noticeable change. Your tolerance for chaos has dropped dramatically. You're no longer willing to entertain situations that drain your energy or relationships that lack reciprocity. This isn't you being cold or distant. This is you honoring your own growth. When you've been through storms that tested your strength, you become protective of your peace. You start recognizing patterns you refuse to repeat. You begin choosing environments that nurture you, not environments that force you to shrink. That's not selfishness. That's wisdom. You may also find that your interests and passions are evolving. Things you once desired no longer attract you. Old dreams feel complete. New dreams begin to form. Your imagination expands. Your creativity wakes up. You start feeling drawn toward opportunities, industries, or experiences you never considered before. This is your spirit pointing you toward the next direction of your purpose. The things that fulfilled you in your old season won't necessarily fulfill you in your new one. Allow yourself to evolve. Allow your dreams to grow with you. One of the most overlooked signs of transition is the increasing sense of anticipation. You might not know what's coming, but you can feel that something is coming. This feeling can show up as excitement, nervousness, curiosity, or even restlessness. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, not because you're about to fall, but because you're ready to soar. Your heart knows what your eyes can't see yet. You're catching glimpses of your future, even if you can't fully describe it. And then there's the preparation instinct, the urge to get things in order. You might find yourself organizing your finances, cleaning your home, resetting your habits, reevaluating your relationships, or making plans you didn't intend to make. This preparation instinct is powerful because you often don't realize why you're doing it. But on a deeper level, you're preparing for a shift. Your spirit knows that the next chapter requires structure, clarity, and readiness, and this instinct to get your life together is a sign that you're aligning with your future. One thing many people overlook is how often life removes people before elevating you. The shrinking of your circle right now is intentional. The misunderstandings, the silence, the distance, it all has purpose. Not everyone can walk with you into your new season. Some people are connected to your history, not your destiny. Some relationships serve their purpose, and now it's time to gently release them. Elevation requires releasing what no longer aligns. Don't hold on to what life is asking you to let go of. This thinning process also applies to habits, routines, and mindsets. There are things you simply can't bring with you into your next level. Old doubts, old fears, old insecurities, old survival patterns. You cannot thrive with a survival mindset. You can't build new opportunities with old tools. Life is cleansing your path, not to strip you, but to prepare you. You're being refined so you can hold the weight of the blessings waiting for you. Look at your recent challenges. Look at the setbacks, the moments of uncertainty, the sudden changes you didn't expect. These aren't signs of failure. They're signs of recalibration. The universe has a way of rewiring your path when it detects misalignment. What feels like everything falling apart is often everything falling into place behind the scenes. Sometimes things break because you've outgrown them. Sometimes doors close because you deserve better. Sometimes delays happen because the timing isn't ready yet. But delays are not denials, and closed doors aren't dead ends, they're redirections. You may have also experienced an increase in emotional sensitivity recently. You feel things more deeply. You sense subtle shifts more quickly. You pick up on energy changes faster. This isn't weakness, it's spiritual intelligence. Your awareness is heightening because your purpose is calling for it. You're being prepared to walk into situations where discernment will be your greatest asset. Don't judge yourself for feeling more. Sensitivity is a superpower in the right environment. Here's another thing you may have noticed: resistance. The moment you start stepping into a new identity, resistance rises, obstacles appear, doubt surfaces, fear gets louder. It's the same dynamic athletes experience right before breaking a record, or entrepreneurs experience right before a major breakthrough, or spiritual figures experience before stepping into their calling. Resistance isn't the enemy, it's the indicator. It means the threshold is close. It means you're pushing beyond the limits of your old self. The pressure is not proof you're off track. It's proof you're right on time. Your next season isn't about struggling to survive, it's about learning to thrive. Imagine a life where your gifts are seen, your purpose is supported, your peace is prioritized, and your environment nurtures your growth. That life is not a distant dream, it's closer than you think. Your inner world has been shifting to match the frequency of a better future, and soon your outer world will reflect that shift too. This next chapter is not about who you were, it's about who you are becoming. You're shedding the outdated versions of yourself. You're stepping into a more authentic version of you, one with clarity, confidence, and courage. You're moving from confusion to direction, from stagnation to momentum, from survival to expansion. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust this: everything is aligning behind the scenes. The right connections, resources, timing, relationships, ideas, and opportunities are already forming. Like puzzle pieces scattered on a table, your life is being arranged into something coherent and beautiful. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. And now, as we step into this final part of your journey, take a moment to breathe, slowly, deeply. Feel your chest soften, feel your shoulders drop, feel the tension you've been carrying finally loosen its grip. You've walked through so many inner chapters throughout this message, chapters of revelation, chapters of clarity, chapters of growth. And now, here you stand, at the emotional doorway of your next season. Not because the world suddenly shifted, but because you have. There's something powerful about allowing yourself to feel everything you've suppressed for so long. The disappointments you never voiced, the victories you never celebrated, the fears you kept private, the dreams you kept tucked away because you weren't sure if they were allowed to exist. This is the moment where all of that finally comes to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but to free you. Every emotion holds a message. Every tear is evidence of how deeply you've lived, how deeply you've hoped, and how deeply you've longed for something more. Let yourself release. Let yourself acknowledge everything you've endured. Maybe life has pulled you in directions you didn't expect. Maybe you've had to be strong for people who never knew how much weight you were carrying. Maybe you've had to wake up on days when your heart felt heavier than your body. Maybe you've learned how to smile even when no one else understood the storm you were walking through. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still believing in the possibility of something better. That is strength. That is resilience. That is identity. Sometimes the greatest transformation doesn't happen when life changes. It happens when you change. When your heart softens instead of hardens. When your faith deepens instead of crumbling. When your spirit rises even when your circumstances haven't shifted yet. That's the kind of transformation that echoes into every area of your life. And in this moment, I want you to understand something deeply. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are exactly where you need to be for what's about to unfold. Life didn't delay you. It prepared you. Every closed door protected you. Every waiting season refined you. Every detour redirected you. And every pain shaped you in ways comfort never could. You've grown wiser, more discerning, more in tune with your purpose. You've learned to hear the whispers beneath the noise. You've learned to recognize the difference between what drains you and what grows you. You've learned to listen to the quiet nudges that guide you, even when it makes no sense to anyone else. That is divine alignment. That is spiritual maturity. That is readiness. And maybe you've questioned yourself lately. Maybe you've wondered if you're imagining this shift, but you're not. What you're feeling is real. Your spirit is catching up to the season your life is moving into. Your desires are evolving because your destiny is expanding. Your restlessness isn't a sign of instability. It's a sign that your soul is outgrowing its old walls. You're not being pushed out, you're being called forward. Look at how your heart responds when you imagine what's possible. Look at how your body reacts when you think about stepping into a new environment filled with peace, clarity, and purpose. That feeling inside you, the warmth, the anticipation, the spark, is not a coincidence. It's the emotional confirmation that something greater is waiting on the other side of your obedience. But here's the part we often avoid talking about. Every story that touches people, every story that moves hearts, must involve vulnerability. Not perfection, not certainty, but honesty. Your willingness to feel is what makes your story powerful. Your willingness to rise after falling is what makes it inspiring. And your willingness to trust again after being disappointed is what makes you unstoppable. So as we bring this journey to a close, let this be your release moment, your emotional exhale. Because what's coming next isn't just another chapter. It's the one where everything begins to make sense, where the puzzle pieces fit, where the prayers you thought were ignored begin to unfold in ways that exceed your expectations, where the version of you emerging becomes stronger, kinder, braver, and more aligned than ever before. Let this message touch the parts of you that rarely see the light. Let it speak to your doubts, your hurts, your dreams, your hidden hopes. Let it awaken the courage inside you that has been quiet for too long. And most importantly, let it remind you that you are not walking into your future alone. Because before you take your next step, I want to speak directly to your heart. You are capable. You are chosen. You are prepared. You are aligned. You are ready. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because everything within you is awakening. Now, as we seal this message, here's what I want you to do, not as a formality, but as an act of agreement with your own future. If this message resonated with you, type, "I'm ready" in the comments, not to impress anyone, but to declare to yourself and your destiny that you're stepping into alignment, that you're choosing faith over fear, that you're embracing the shift instead of resisting it. And while you're here, help this message reach the people who need it. Someone out there is waiting for the confirmation you just received. So don't hold this to yourself. Click the like button. It helps this message find someone who's praying for guidance right now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next message designed to uplift you, guide you, and walk with you through every stage of your journey. Comment below and let us know what part of this message spoke to you the most. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs. This isn't just a video, it's a community, a movement, a place where your story, your growth, and your voice matter. And as you step forward today, remember this: you are not being moved by chance. You are being moved by purpose. And purpose never leads you somewhere without preparing you first. Your next chapter is closer than you think, and when it arrives, you'll understand why everything had to unfold exactly the way it did. You're ready. You're aligned. You're stepping into your new beginning. And I can't wait to walk with you through every step of it.